Well, Aseem, it's great to have you on here as we wrap up our event.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on the podcast and the show.
Well, it's our first interview that I think we've ever done with ambient jazz music
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
background as well. I don't think anyone can hear it, but it's certainly going on in the party next door.
You should have said you planned it. That'd be much more impressive, right?
I should do all podcasts this way from now on. Got to bring a band, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So, well, I'm excited to talk about Madrona Venture Group, what you're doing now, getting to know your history. So let's start with Madrona, right? Because you were telling me about them last night, and they are famous, I should say. Your company is famous for signing a very famous check to an unknown bookseller back then.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That is correct. Actually, our founder, Tom Alberg, was an investor in this company called Amazon. And so, Madrona has been around for 26 years. We are VCs based out of the Pacific Northwest. We invest in, super early, all the way from pre-seed to seed to Series A. And then more recently, we've been doing Series B investments out of our growth fund. And, of course, we believe in, the Pacific Northwest. We believe in great founders, great entrepreneurs. And we've got a few theses and areas of investment, that form the basis of how and where we invest dollars. But we've done a few notable ones. Amazon was one. We've done Smartsheet, Aptio, UiPath. Those are some of the companies that we've been investors on in. TerraClear, that's a robotic startup that's here, is another one of our portfolio companies. And more recently, we've also invested in ML ops, like companies like OctoML, which are transforming the world of machine learning ops.
Well, it's like you've already had a penchant for the next big thing back in the 90s. And I feel like robotics, AI, those areas are the next big thing as well. And that's what you're focused on. But before that, you had a long career at Microsoft as well. And I'd love to hear what you were doing there and some of the things where you were on the cutting edge in that company as well.
Yeah. So, it was by happenstance. I did my master's in engineering at the University of Washington. So came to Seattle in about 2002 and, interned with Microsoft and have been with Microsoft ever since until I left last September. So I had a 17-year-long run at Microsoft, did various roles all the way from developer, writing code, to program manager, to go-to-market, to sales. And then I worked primarily in three big businesses. Windows, which was a very well-established business, a name that we all know. Office, obviously, the next big business. And most recently, for the last 7 years, I joined the small team, which was called Azure. We were only about 100 people or so, roughly about 20 million in ARR, and then grew significantly until I, last exited and looked at it, was about 20 billion-ish run rate. So it was a phenomenal journey. And, Microsoft is always, like I say, home to a certain extent.
And you were able to get a little bit of a taste of AI during that time as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, look, the way I would describe it is, this is really the next frontier, right? I think you look at, autonomous systems, you look at, intelligence, you look at cloud that's really enabled this adoption and this acceleration, provided an accelerant towards AI. Because if you imagine what were machines doing back in the day, they were executing instructions, right? But now you're able to sort of train them with a whole bunch of data. They're learning on the fly and they're able to make decisions as much as almost humans can. And that really is the next frontier, which is intelligent machines. And I'm excited to be here at this conference and, sort of see the applications of AI come together with the promise of robotics to kind of build the next generation of what I call as robotics revolution.
How do you feel Microsoft prepared you for what you're doing now, leading robotics and AI investments at Madrona?
Yeah, so it's in my opinion, I think it's pretty simple, right? Like in the Microsoft world, you're predominantly an operator. You're a builder. You create things. You talk to customers. You think about go-to-market. You think about how do you scale businesses. And throughout my time at Microsoft, in various roles, you learn different aspects of it, right? The developer, you learn to write code. So, program manager, you learn to run big programs. You get to scale go-to-market. You get to run sales. And so the beauty of Microsoft is I got, and again, this is this is sort of unique. I got this point of view across multiple businesses, multiple industries, multiple customers, varied sizes, varied, I would say products. And it really sort of gave me that left to right view of what does a true P&L look like. And how do you scale a business, how do you start from scratch, and how do you get it to the point of maturity. And if you think of the world of startups, like, what does an entrepreneur think about? All of the above, in different stages, of course, through the startup. And so it was a natural, progression for me to look at what have I learned in Microsoft about businesses and scaling them, and can I now take that and apply it into, a different setting, work alongside, really great entrepreneurs who have great passion for products, industries, and can I help businesses grow at a much faster rate than market?
Yeah, and being on the venture side now, you and I spoke when we met at the kickoff
Yeah.
happy hour last night, and you made a comment that stuck out to me when we were talking about 5G, Wi-Fi 6, all of these trends that are in the space right now. You said it's not why or when this is all going to happen. It's what's stopping it from
Right.
happening right now. I'd love you to go in on that. Tell the listeners a bit about that as well.
Yeah. I mean, you have to rewind back a little bit, right? I mean, I go back to my days when I was developer, and you had to worry about things like code management. You have to worry about performance. You have to worry about memory. Like, you ran out of memory and you had buffer overflows. Like, what do? In today's world, you fast forward to cloud computing, you're able to just go commission new VMs, like just go get more compute, like rent more compute, and it's available at your fingertips. Think about what distributed computing has done is democratized technology, right? It's given it in the hands of every creator at Godspeed. Then you marry that with, as you talked about, 5G and Wi-Fi 6 and these blazing fast networks. And on top of that, you add MLAI at the edge along with transformer models. You can make decisions at the edge. So it's just command control as well as manage at the edge. And so that's really made sort of this leap on machines and devices can now do that, thinking that, acting for you just the way that humans would if you train them on enough data and if you inject enough smarts to it. So to your question, to me, all these things have lined up that weren't lined up 10 years ago, right? Now you add onto that global macros, right? Like things like what COVID has taught us. More autonomous, touchless operations, more self-serving, more self-navigating, self-controlling. And then there is this other sort of tailwind around, the labor shortages that we're seeing across the globe. So now you look at these things and say, okay, great. All these six things line up. So then my comment around what's stopping it, right? I think it's a matter of entrepreneurs building great solutions and not just building blocks, right? Platforms are great, and I'm a platforms guy. But at the same point in time, if you're going into these industries and let's say you're building agriculture solutions or you're building solutions in a warehouse or for a automotive manufacturer, you can't just give them building blocks and say, hey, good luck, right? Because they don't have the expertise. They don't have development teams. They don't have, the tech talent. You got to really think about, can I give them solutions that work end to end? Can I prove out the tech? Can I show the ROI while I sort of go then train them or give them the flexibility to go do things on their own? So I think it's a balance between horizontal platforms and vertical solutions that has to sort of get to the right level of maturity for this thing to succeed.
And I think this ties into what our final question is, and this is the common question, and I'll put a little VC spin on it for you as well. It's like, hey, what are your predictions for robotics, automation, and AI over the next 3 years? Maybe I ask you, where are you placing your bets over the next 3 years?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's no surprise that, my answer would be enterprise software robotics, right? I truly believe that, enterprises are poised to sort of go, bet on this new technology. But I believe that the magic lies in the software, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I think if you fast forward like 5, 10, 15 years, like hardware is going to become commodity, right? And the magic is going to be in the software and the smarts that run on top of that hardware in order to go make that system sing. I'll give you a very simple example, right? Back in the day, the whole notion of robotics was, how do I get the arm, really mimicking a human arm? And so there was a lot of, I would say, hardware design and hardware optimization that went into the actual holding of the clutch or the arms or the fingers of the robot, you might call it. But now I think you can avoid those investments by controlling it by software, because what you do is you just have to build hardware that's good enough, but then software controls it on the fly, kind of the AI piece on top of it, right? Which is all I need to do is to get the arm near the beer glass and it'll pick it up. Right?
Yeah.
And it'll learn. It'll try once, it'll try again, but
Yeah.
it'll pick it up. And so the smarts really, in my opinion, will come from the software. And that's kind of where we believe the growth and the puck is going.
Well, I love the example. Just get the arm near the beer glass. Perfect for our happy hour
That's
portion of the show. Aseem, it's been great chatting with you. Thanks so much for jumping on.
Chris, thank you for having me. This is amazing.
Cheers.
Thank you.